Hi, my name's Grace Kneeland, and I'm a junior health science major, and I plan on going into medical sales when I graduate. So today I'm going to be talking about medical devices and how it relates to healthcare management. So to start off, what is a medical device? So a medical device is an instrument, machine, implant, or other similar or related article that is used for the diagnosis, treatment, mitigation, or cure to a disease or health condition. So, if a product meets this criteria as the definition of a device, then according to the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, it must be regulated and approved by the FDA before going onto the market and being available for patients. So, there are three classifications for medical devices. There is Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3, and I'm going to talk a little bit about each one. So to start off, Class 1, this is general controls, which these devices have very low risk, low invasion, and therefore they have the lowest level of regulatory control required, meaning that they don't have to be as controlled by the FDA. These devices are the easiest to use of the three classifications, and typically they have the lowest prices, so they're not going to be super expensive products. Examples of Class 1 devices are bandages, like you see in the picture, like gauze, dental floss, tongue depressors, things like that, kind of like disposable items. So next we have Class 2, general and special controls. So Class 2 devices are a little bit more complicated than Class 1 and are associated with a little bit of higher risk. So because of this higher risk, they have to have a little bit more regulatory controls to ensure safety and effectiveness of the products. Examples of Class 2 devices are orthopedic implants like hip implants, pregnancy test kits, acupuncture needles, and powered wheelchairs like you see in the picture there. So next we have Class 3, so general controls and pre-market approval, meaning there's a little bit more that goes into this process. So Class 3 medical devices are considered the most complex. They're definitely the most invasive and costly devices of the three classifications, so they're going to be a lot more pricey than the Class 1 and Class 2. These devices are usually life-sustaining, which is why that they're more high risk, and they're extremely important to the individuals who need them and who use them. Because of the high risk, though, that comes along with more regulatory control to make sure that they're safe for the public. Examples of Class 3 medical devices are pacemakers, like in the picture, insulin pumps if you're a diabetic, external defibrillators, and HIV diagnostic tests. So, how do medical devices relate to healthcare management? Medical devices are closely related to management and our healthcare system as a whole. Healthcare costs, access to care, quality of treatment, all those things can be significantly altered by using a medical device if needed. Management plays a key role in the healthcare system, as we know, and influences the care patients will receive. So, the three areas that I'm going to talk a little bit about in which medical devices and healthcare management kind of go hand in hand is access, cost, and quality. So, to start off, I'm going to talk about access. First, to get into this, I'm going to talk about the difference between the United States and the European countries and their care systems. So, in Europe, they use something known as the universal healthcare system, which basically means everybody has a right to care, no matter where you come from, how much money you have. It's all the same for everybody. Whereas in the United States, we have a system in which it depends on what you can afford. You have the right to care if you can pay for it, or if you can have your insurance cover that. So the same thing kind of goes for medical devices. So in European countries, they have faster access to medical care, or I'm sorry, to medical devices. The approval process is a lot quicker, and they have more options of medical devices. So in the United States, however, it's a slower process, and there's less options available. So, like this paragraph says, it's a long and costly process. There's a lot of steps that have to be taken before a patient will ever get a medical device. An application must be submitted to the FDA. The device must be approved and reviewed very carefully for safety and effectiveness. Reimbursement, meaning it must be paid for. Those decisions must be made. And finally, it needs to be proved to have significant clinical benefits. And what that means is that it must be proven to do what it's supposed to do for the patient. So once these steps are completed, the patient can have access to it depending on the cost and insurance coverage. So depending on if the patient can afford it or if their insurance company will cover it. So the average time it takes for the FDA to approve one of these high-risk medical devices and get it released to the market is about 13.1 months, so a little bit over a year. So next we have quality. So as we all know, quality of care is one of the most important aspects of healthcare. It's the driving factor in most facilities, like a hospital. Quality has always been super important. And management of quality is crucial for all prototypes of care, but especially in medical devices. These devices are essential for individuals who need them, and the level of quality can be a difference between life and death, which seems very serious, but that's the quality is the medical device. So super important for individuals who are depending on it for that. The FDA works very closely with these medical devices to make sure that they're taking their time to make sure it has high quality and that it's safe. As we all know, drugs and pharmaceuticals are recalled all the time. We hear about it on TV and the news, but the same actually goes for medical devices. If a device is not seen as fit, in terms of quality and safety, then the process starts all over and the medical device is completely reevaluated for any regulation. Although in the last 2 decades, economic cycles and uncertainties have affected several industries, the medical device sector reaped benefits in earlier investments and delivered unmatched improvements in life quality. So that's good for the medical device industry. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're improving quality of life rather than not meeting those expectations. So lastly, we have cost. So medical devices are expensive. They are. So according to Wimmer, it is conservatively estimated that in the United States we spend more than $1.22 billion on FDA mandated studies for medical devices between the months of March and June. So that's a 3-month window. So over the course of a year, we spend $145 million on medical devices in general, not just on the post-approval studies, but making sure that they get approved and get onto the market and that they're paid for. So that's what it means for the United States healthcare system, but what does this mean for the patient who is actually going to be using these devices? This is going to mean higher out-of-pocket costs. A lot of times insurance does not cover the cost of the devices. It's very rare. It's unfortunate, but that's just how it is. And costs are a barrier for a lot of individuals who can't afford these devices because they are so pricey. Technology and healthcare. So as we know, technology is a booming industry. Things are ever changing, and it has provided healthcare with so many benefits and really transformed the way patients receive care and the way that they are able to communicate with their physician. So the use of mobile devices for health purposes has grown so much in the past decade, allowing patients to access health information right at their fingertips. So this could be Googling a question you have about one of your symptoms on WebMD, or this could be texting your doctor. Instead of having to go in and make an appointment, your phone has provided many ways to make things quicker and easier for the patient and for the physician as well. So that kind of leads to my next point. So it doesn't only benefit the patient, it actually can benefit the healthcare provider as well. They're able to use their smartphones and tablets when they're at work to view a patient's medical record, to communicate with their staff, and also to send prescriptions to the local pharmacy. So when they are finished with the patient, they're able to just send the prescription off rather than using paper like we used to a while ago. So the use of EMRs is also super prevalent, which is the electronic medical record, and this is just a way for the doctor and the patient to virtually view a medical record rather than the patient having to go to all the different providers that they've seen. It's all just in one place. So next I'm going to talk about how your mobile device can kind of act as a medical device, which is a super cool thing about cell phones. So I found this on the Harvard Health Letter, and it says apps are the new frontier of medicine. So, as we all know, there are so many apps out there for smartphones on the market, and a lot of them actually today are for health information. So, they can provide individuals with really good, substantial health information that is just right on their phone. So, whether you are wanting to count calories or track your steps or your exercise, or if you are diabetic and need to monitor your glucose levels, there is an app available for literally any health issue you have, or even if it's not an issue, if it's just you want to de stress yourself, anything, there's an app for it. So, along with the mobile device, smartphone, um, trend benefiting the consumer, it also benefits the physician. So there's actually apps out there that allow the physician to connect with their patient and kind of track their vitals, whether it be their blood pressure, their heart rate, their glucose levels. There's something for it all. Down in the left corner is a diabetic monitor that allows it to connect to your cell phone. So, issues. There are many issues with medical devices. So, there's so many people in the world that use a medical device or are directed to, at least. And with that being said, though, medical devices can be super complicated, hard to use, making it very difficult for individuals to correctly administer the medication or correctly use the device that they are told and supposed to use. According to Bonds, approximately 22% of individuals with a medical device know how to properly use it. So that's a very small number of people who know how to use it, and a very large percentage of people who sadly don't know how to use it when they're supposed to. This is a major issue facing our healthcare system today, as patients are basically neglecting care they actually need. So if they are not using it properly, if they're not using it as much as they're supposed to, or also they could be wasting resources by misusing it, by using it too often, or just not using it the correct way. So, how can we fix this? Issues that arise from medical devices not only hurt the patient at hand. So, if an individual doesn't use their device correctly, it's not just impacting them. The misuse of these devices takes a toll on our entire healthcare system and impacts access, quality, and cost of care, like I talked about. There are a few protocols that can be followed to try and avoid these problems and increase quality of care and just make everything easier on the physician side as well as on the patient side using the device. Sorry. So, first, patients must be educated. That is the biggest thing. When patients aren't using their devices correctly, it's because they are not educated on how to use them. So, it is the physician's job to ensure that patients understand them and that health literacy is there regarding their care plans, so that when they leave the office, they aren't confused on what to do and how to do it and how many times to do it. They are very educated. Next, providers should make sure to only prescribe medical devices when they're absolutely necessary. As we know, they're very expensive, they're invasive, and to do this, patients can avoid unnecessary treatment that they don't really need, or spending money that they don't need to spend. Lastly, it is critical that patients are upfront and honest with their physician regarding their care and use of a medical device. So, like I said in the first point, it is the physician's job to ensure that the patient understands, but it's also the patient's job to tell their doctor when they don't. So, they need to be honest, but at the same time, they need to tell them, I don't understand this, or I'm not doing this correctly. Can you show me how? So that's a super important point that can increase their quality of care and help the whole cost and access key points as well. So, in conclusion, medical devices have a very wide range of benefits. They can treat diseases, they can help in preventative care, and self management of one's own health. As a future medical device sales rep, I have really enjoyed researching this topic, and learning about how medical devices impact our current healthcare system in so many ways that I never would have thought of. It really opened my eyes to the importance of healthcare management as a whole and the multiple dimensions that are related to this concept, such as cost, quality, and access to care. Thank you for watching, and my references are on the next slide.